Good afternoon, I'm Nathan Kadish, and that was the sound of grain threshing, which is an important part of a local food system. I work with Ecotrust, and I'm here to talk to you today about the Red on Salmon Street, which is a 2-block campus in the heart of Portland, Oregon, specifically focused on increasing local food system resilience. Ecotrust is working to build a new economy that restores nature and invests in people. We work right at the intersection of conservation and commerce. For this specific project, we teamed up with Green Gables Design, Opsis Architecture, and Urban Patterns to dig into our food system. We started with the premise that our current food system is broken. So is this clicker. It's one that's causing climate change to accelerate. It's one that's increasing rural poverty rapidly. And it's one that has negative ramifications on human health. We believe that the solution to these challenges starts with institutional food buyers. Food buyers like school districts and hospitals that are feeding our most vulnerable and that have multi-billion-dollar annual food budgets. Shifting some of those budgets, or more of those budgets, towards local food that's nutrient-dense and grown by mid-sized family farms is the key. The challenge, as shown here, is that the supply chains are extremely complex and totally fragmented. Connecting those eaters and those growers is really hard. And the Red on Salmon Street focuses on the right side of this diagram, what we call the last mile. What happens to that food in the city? And when we at Ecotrust think about cities, we refer back to Jane Jacobs. She was an early Ecotrust board member. And Jane believed that cities have the capability of providing something for everybody only because and only when they are created by everybody. So we started our design process by listening to everybody. We hosted numerous design charrettes and convenings in one of the old buildings we purchased. We pulled together designers and systems thinkers and food buyers and food growers. We also went outside the buildings and talked to neighbors. We talked to the homeless. We talked to the people driving the trucks. We went further afield and talked to the farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. What we came up with all those thoughts was a design that ultimately takes this old industrial warehouse and the warehouse on the neighboring block and transforms it into an ecosystem that responds to local food needs. It takes multiple design principles from nature as well, complementing large spaces with small spaces, keeping open spaces in the middle that creates a lot of viability for flexibility as well as creativity and collaboration, and layering multiple functions to create kind of a symbiotic ecosystem. Those functions, as defined by the charrettes that we did, were last mile logistics, kind of how the food comes into the city, where it's stored, and how it goes back out to the eaters. Transparent production, so the community can literally watch sausage be made, as appealing as that is. Centralized office that creates an opportunity for collaboration, those systems thinkers to work together on new solutions. And education and showroom space, where eaters and tastemakers alike can learn about the importance of local food system resilience. The project is about $25 million, and it layers equity, debt, grants, program-related investments, tax credits, any money we can get our hands on, basically. And it creates a vibrant ecosystem of processors, producers, systems thinkers, and the community. We're actively recruiting partners, funders, systems thinkers, and tenants, and we hope you'll all join us. Thanks.
Thank you, Nathan.
I have a question about the connection to jobs and job creation and job training. Have you looked at the impact that it could have on local communities in terms of job generation?
Absolutely, great question. So there are a couple components to that. The first is workforce development. One of the things that the institutional food buyers told us is one of their greatest needs, aside from sourcing, is finding great talent. And so we've recruited some social enterprises to work within the campus that will focus specifically on job training. Teaching people to be line cooks, teaching people to be chefs, things like that. We believe that there will be about 400 people working on the campus. 200 of those will be new jobs.
Can you further articulate what this, and it's a great project, is actually changing?
Oh, absolutely. It's two things. It's the layering of the functions. Food hubs are super hot right now. There's about 350 of them across the country. Most of them focus on rural aggregation, and they're really supply side driven. What's changing here is that it's demand side driven. It's the pull from those institutional buyers and the layering of the functions that enables that food to get to them. So what we're doing is moving more of that food pulling more of that food from rural and getting it into urban using the demand side.
Can you elaborate on what this is doing to address issues of affordability?
Absolutely. So we start with school districts and hospitals and those institutional buyers in order to specifically get to volumes. That's the key to affordability, as well as finding ways to complement traditional food budgets with social enterprise budgets. So tax credits, grants, program-related investments gets us the volume of food at the price we need it, so it gets into the institutions to the vulnerable populations.
And can you talk a little bit about the buyers and the engagement level, like schools signed up or
Yeah.
hospitals signed up and that kind of thing?
So we've organized a coalition called the Northwest Institutional Food Buyers Alliance. Great name. And it includes schools, hospitals, juvenile justice system, counties, as well as corporate cafeterias. They're one of the keys to affordability as well. They're willing to somewhat supplement the budgets of those more social institutions in order to kind of drive CSR points, as well as to get the volumes that they need. So the idea there is to pull that institutional food buyers. The groups that we've convened have all signed on, and they're serving about 125,000 meals a day.
I guess one more.
Yeah.
So do you see other kind of places where people get food, supermarkets, et cetera, do you see those as competitors or partners?
Absolutely partners. So we see the retail side of this as a demand driver as well. The consistency of retail is different than the consistency of buying from institutions and the quantities they need and the timing that they need it. But we've absolutely partnered with national as well as local retail chains, as well as the smaller retail, restaurants, food carts, things like that, that have the demand for this food, but the access is the big challenge.
How can you drive the way that hospital food and school lunches taste? How can you change that?
Yeah, you engage the tastemakers. So part of this process has been around transforming those buyers in partnerships with local chefs. And we have, Portland and the Portlandia vision absolutely rings true throughout this system, but partnering chefs with hospital buyers and school buyers to create food on a budget has been a really interesting piece of the project and is totally scalable. There's chefs in every community around the country that would love to be working with those institutional buyers.
I just had a last question about what were your neighbors worried about you moving in?
So
Very quick answer.
trucks and bikes and how you accommodate both.
Excellent. Well done. Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.